Pocket FM.
To unlock all the episodes, click the link in bio.
Rhys, once light, is now consumed by a dark, unknown power after a warlock ritual. His pack disappears in the sanctum's destruction, leaving him at Caelim's mercy. What is Rhys now, and can he be saved? Where did his pack vanish to? What is the nature of the dark power within him? Rhys's vision swam as he fought against the warlock's restraints. The weight of their magic crushed down on him. But it wasn't just the physical pain that left him breathless. It was the realization that he was losing himself. He could feel something inside him unraveling, memories bleeding into reality. The chamber around him faded, replaced by the scent of pine and the sharp sting of winter air. He knew this place. It was the night everything changed. Rhys stood in the middle of the clearing, his younger self staring in horror at the scene before him. Bodies littered the snow, crimson staining the pure white ground. His father's pack had been ambushed, and in the middle of it all stood the one responsible, a warlock. Not just any warlock, Caelim. He looked different then, younger, his power raw and untamed. Rhys's pulse pounded as he watched his past self charge, his claws flashing under the moonlight, only to be struck down by a force he didn't yet understand. He had been weak then, too young to fight back, too powerless to stop what happened next. His mother's scream. The memory twisted into something sharper. This wasn't just a vision. This was Caelim's doing. He was forcing Rhys to relive his worst moments, to break him from the inside out. Rhys gasped as he was ripped back into the present. His body trembled with the aftershocks of the memory, and Caelim stood before him, watching with a knowing smile. "You remember now, don't you?" Caelim murmured. "You always wondered why I spared you that night." Rhys's hands curled into fists. "You should have killed me when you had the chance." Caelim chuckled. "Oh no, Alpha. You misunderstand." He stepped closer, lowering his voice. "I let you live because you were always meant to serve a greater purpose. You were never the hunter." Rhys's stomach twisted as Caelim leaned in. "You were the bait." Miles away, in the depths of the warlock's stronghold, Trinity lay unconscious, trapped in a world of forgotten memories. Her past had been locked away for years, but now it was unraveling, thread by thread. She was young again, standing in front of an unfamiliar figure, a woman with silver eyes and hair as dark as night. The woman kneeled, pressing something into her hands, a stone, warm to the touch, pulsing with a power she didn't understand. "You must never let them take this from you," the woman whispered, "or you'll forget who you are." Trinity's heart pounded. Who was this woman? And why did she feel like she had already forgotten something important? Trinity woke with a gasp, her pulse racing. The chamber around her felt suffocating, the warlock's magic pressing down on her. But it wasn't the magic that left her breathless. It was the realization that the warlocks had taken more than just her freedom. They had taken her memories. She stumbled to her feet, forcing herself to think. If she could remember even a piece of her past, she could find a way out of this. But the question was, what if she wasn't ready for the truth? Rhys had spent his whole life believing he was meant to protect his pack, to fight, to lead. But what if that had never been his purpose? Caelim's words echoed in his mind. "You were the bait." The truth clawed at him, forcing him to confront something he had buried long ago. His past wasn't just his own. It was tied to the warlocks in ways he didn't understand. And now he wasn't sure if he was fighting against fate or falling straight into its trap. He looked around at his pack. What was left of them? Juniper, Noah, Vincent, Elias. They had all suffered because of him, and Trinity. Trinity was still out there, alone. His hands trembled, fury and helplessness colliding inside him. He had lost too much. He couldn't lose her too. But first, he needed to break free. Caelim watched Rhys struggle, his amusement fading into something colder. "You think strength alone will save you?" he mused. "Let me show you what true power looks like." He raised his hands and suddenly, the chamber walls trembled. Dark energy crackled through the air, and Rhys felt it. A shift, a pull, something ancient stirring beneath the surface. This wasn't just about revenge anymore. The warlocks were preparing for something far worse, and Rhys was running out of time. Rhys is now a corrupted vessel, a weapon of dark power. His pack is trapped within his twisted memories. The dark power is an ancient entity, feeding on despair. Can Reese be saved? Can his pack be recovered? What horror will this dark power unleash?
Hey, I am Trinity. Want to know what happens next? Then click the link in the description below and download the Pocket FM app and listen to the exciting episodes of Chosen by Fate, Rejected by the Alpha.
Reese, corrupted by dark magic, is now Keelam's weapon. His pack is trapped within Reese's twisted memories. Trinity struggles to regain lost memories, holding a keystone. Keelam unleashes ancient power, hinting at a greater evil. What is the dark power's goal? Can Reese save his pack? What secrets does Trinity's stone hold? Reese gritted his teeth as the warlock's magic tightened around him, the invisible force coiling like snakes around his limbs. Every time he moved, it constricted further, sending sharp bursts of pain through his body. He had fought battles against impossible odds before, had clawed his way out of countless traps, but this time was different. This time, they weren't just breaking his body, they were trying to break his mind. Keelam stood before him, his silver eyes gleaming with cruel amusement. "You still don't see it, do you?" he murmured, tilting his head as if examining an unfinished puzzle. "You fight so hard to hold on to your strength, your will. But what if I told you that everything you fought for was nothing but a carefully woven illusion?" Reese refused to answer, but the warlock didn't need words. With a flick of his fingers, a new spell unraveled, and suddenly, the chamber around them shifted. He was no longer standing in the warlock's lair. Instead, he was in the heart of his childhood pack's territory, the air thick with the scent of pine and freshly fallen snow. His breath caught in his throat as he saw them. His father, his mother, his pack. They were alive. For a fleeting moment, hope ignited inside him. But then he saw the shadows creeping at the edges of the vision, warping the scene. His father turned to him, but instead of the strong, noble Alpha Reese had idolized, his face twisted with sorrow. "You were always meant to be their pawn, Reese." The words hit like a physical blow, and suddenly, the illusion shattered. The pack, the snow, his family, they crumbled into nothingness, leaving only darkness in their wake. Reese fell to his knees, gasping. Keelam's voice drifted toward him, smooth and taunting. "The past cannot be escaped, Alpha. The question is, what will you do with the truth once it's revealed?" Trinity sat in the dimly lit chamber, her hands trembling in her lap. She had woken from one nightmare only to find herself trapped in another. The warlocks had taken more than her freedom. They had taken pieces of her, slivers of her past she could no longer reach. The memory of the silver-eyed woman still clung to her mind. There was something familiar about her, something important, but every time she tried to grasp it, it slipped through her fingers like mist. She closed her eyes, trying to focus, think, remember. A sudden jolt of energy pulsed through her, and she gasped. Images flashed before her in disjointed fragments, running through the woods as a child, laughter echoing behind her, the warmth of strong arms lifting her up, whispered words of protection. Then, fire, screams, a shadowy figure standing over her, stealing something she could not name. Her eyes snapped open, her heart pounding. The warlocks had erased something vital, something that could change everything. A sharp voice interrupted her thoughts. "You shouldn't be awake." Trinity turned sharply to see a warlock standing in the doorway, watching her with wary eyes. He was younger than the others, his expression lacking the same cruel amusement she had come to expect. "What did you take from me?" she demanded, forcing steel into her voice. The warlock hesitated, and for a moment, she thought she saw something flicker in his gaze. Doubt. Fear. He took a slow step closer. "Not everything taken is meant to stay lost," he murmured, before slipping out of the room, leaving her with more questions than answers. Trinity clenched her fists. She was done waiting, done being a pawn in their games. She would find her missing past, and then she would make them pay. Reese gasped as he jolted awake, his chest heaving, drenched in sweat. His hands instinctively reached for his throat, feeling phantom hands that had once choked him in battle. But there was no war, no broken landscape, no scent of blood and magic lingering in the air. Instead, there was the steady hum of an intercom, the scent of freshly brewed coffee, the rustling of people moving about with their suitcases. A chill ran through him as he looked around and realized where he was. An airport. His hands gripped the armrests of his seat, his fingers pressing into the fabric as reality came crashing down. The dream, or was it a dream, had been so real. He had fought, he had suffered, he had lost. He had felt Trinity slipping through his fingers, his friends taken one by one. But now he was here. With a shaky breath, he rubbed his face, trying to push away the remnants of the horrifying vision. His head pounded as fragments of war, captivity, and bloodshed echoed in his mind. What the hell had just happened? Flight 227 to London. Now boarding at gate 14, the intercom announced. London. His stomach twisted. He wasn't here by coincidence. Trinity had gone missing just a day ago. The real Trinity. And he was on his way to track down the last lead. One that suggested Caleb and his warlock followers had taken her somewhere in the UK. That part wasn't a dream. It was reality. But if that was real, what had he just lived through in his sleep? "Reese!" A voice called out, startling him. A voice, familiar yet jarring, snapped him out of the chaotic swirl of his thoughts. His body tensed, every muscle coiled, ready for a fight that might not even exist. Who? How? His eyes flickered around the crowded airport, searching for a threat he couldn't quite define. Was it just a concerned traveler, a friend, or something more sinister?
I am Trinity. Want to know what happens next? Then click the link in the description below and download the Pocket FM app and listen to the exciting episodes of Chosen by Fate, Rejected by the Alpha.
Pocket FM. To unlock all the episodes, click the link in bio.